Seriously, though, why do we even prep at this point? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for watching, listening, subscribing to the channel. It is truly appreciated. Let's talk about why we prep this morning. Occasionally, and I get it, don't feed the trolls, son. Don't do it. But occasionally, you'll see these comments here in other communities. Why do you waste time prepping? I don't know, bro. Why do you waste time creating shell accounts on YouTube to harass people in prepping communities? Seems like that's a bigger waste of time to me. But anyway, I digress. I'm glad to hear that y'all Beaverines made it through the hurricane okay. I figured you would. I've seen many comments where you were holed up, you were getting ready for the initial hit, and you survived it. You're now in the aftermath phase, so to speak. And again, I figured the Beaverines out there were going to be as ready as humanly possible. Plus, a lot of you, because this thing hit Florida, it battered Florida, and then it went up the right side of the map, as I like to call it, the East Coast. And no disrespect to the West Coast folks out there, but it battered, the coastal areas, the opposite side of North Carolina from where I'm at. We got some rainfall, and that was pretty much it. Not a lot of wind or anything, but events like this will reinforce the reason that we prep. I think this is a really good example to look at. All right. Doesn't necessarily have to be a hurricane though, but it's a really good example. People come to you with questions. Why do you prepare the things that you do? Why do you have a second pantry? And that's the moment where you take their little rosy red cheeks, son, looking like the Piggly Wiggly icon or whatever logo, and you just point them this way and you say, "Look at this hurricane. Look how we prospered during this hurricane, when our neighbors not, maybe they didn't." So, but we live in a time and a country, quite frankly, filled with disasters. Let me go down the list real quick. Not that you really need one, but hey, it's a YouTube video. I need a list, right? Apparently. Um, So the past couple of weeks, and I mentioned this somewhere. I don't remember if I mentioned it on YouTube or the exclusive stream for Patreon, the Coffee Club. I don't remember, but I'm going to try and link this down below this morning. It'll say Intel, and there will be a link in the video description. Okay, these live streams, they're coming out of I believe it's Kenningston Avenue in Philadelphia, downtown Philadelphia. There are a couple of channels now that are going through with GoPros, and they are doing live streams, and they're just walking during the day, they're walking at night. They're trying to expose what inner cities with decades and decades of liberalism, at the helm, what it ends up looking like. And I legitimately feel sorry for the people that are in this area. Um, and I'm gonna say this, but I don't say it out of malice, okay? Many of these people are like zombies, literally. I've seen videos where people are so hyped up or coming off of drugs, maybe, I don't know, that they're standing in place, they're leaned over, and they're rocking back and forth just in a stupor. I don't know how else to explain this. I mean, people are passed out everywhere. There are encampments of people that are in wheelchairs, confined to wheelchairs, people openly doing drugs. It's crazy. And there will be police officers 100 feet away, and they do literally nothing because, again, their hands are probably tied where it's a liberal city. So I will try and link that. in the video description below. Go in if you're prayerful, go in, say a prayer before you go in because there's some really disturbing stuff during these live streams. And I would consider that a full on SHTF. Look, I don't care where you stand politically when it comes to the president of the United States. Ain't nobody getting elected that's going to be able to go in and fix that in a 4-year term. There's just no way. I mean, it doesn't even look like the United States from what I've seen. And I know I got my Mr. South, Mr. Mayberry goggles on or whatever, and I live in my own little world and I totally get it, but I'm not used to seeing stuff like that in the United States. I'm truly not. It's disturbing. Something else that's disturbing. All of these lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, they keep freezing up like they're getting a firmware update from the mothership. Y'all seeing this? Mitch McConnell is he's the next one here. Mitch McConnell be giving an interview and all of a sudden he just freezes like a robot or something. I'm not trying to float any conspiracy theories. I'm sure that his age has a lot to do with it. I think he's in his early 80s. And I'm not trying to age shame anybody, but look, man, when you're giving a political speech and you're a lawmaker in this country and mid speech, you forget where you're at, it's probably time to hang up the boots, son. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. Getting back to Feinstein for a second. She doesn't even freeze up. She's I don't even know how to explain it. She's like a mummy. I keep coming back to that. She's like a mummy. She's like caterpillar, metamorphosis to a butterfly, son. She's in that middle stage where she's not even coherent enough to know what's going on. It's time for these people to hang these boots up and let young people take over. I mean, you thieves anyway. But I'm looking at both sides of the aisle, lawmakers. Y'all career thieves, man. At least have the decency. When you hit 80 years old, step aside, hang them boots up and let the next thieves in line come up. Make it a little more respectable for God's sake. And I consider that an SHTF. That alone in itself, these folks are steering the ship. That's an SHTF for me because it's only a matter of time before we hit a huge iceberg with these people in charge or theoretically in charge. Americans can't maintain their current lifestyle. I know that that sounds cheesy and cliche, but look, man, to me, that seems like an SHTF. I think, and I said this earlier last week, when student loans come back, it's going to be a shock to the system for a lot of people. I think I worded it. That's when the rubber's going to hit the road up here for a lot of Americans who have been in denial. Seriously. And I've got those comments and I agree. Yes, student loans should be paid back. I'm with you on that. I'm not defending it. I have student loans with intention of paying back, right? And I knew that going in, so that's fair. I'm talking about the ones that for the last 3 years haven't had to pay anything, and they've become accustomed to getting the new $1,200 phone every 2 years, the new MacBook or whatever. I don't even have a MacBook, son. I wouldn't even know how to operate a MacBook, but I digress. The point is the status quo, the 250 to $300, what is it? Kate Spade, pocketbooks and stuff like this. I mean, there's a status quo. People are used to living a certain way. And when those student loans begin to pay back, and I believe they start today, but the first payment will be due um, the beginning of October, if I'm not mistaken. Man, you know, a lot of stuff's going out of the window. All the stuff that I just named, a lot of those standard vacations that people just expect. People expect a certain amount of vacations a year. That's no longer going to be affordable. They're not going to be able to afford to go out and eat 3 times a week or to stop and get coffee on their way to wherever they go all day for all of the ones that don't work. You know, Get up and get some coffee, go to the library for a while, come back home, get back in your pajamas, whatever life these people are living. But let's assume they're all working for a second, okay? And the numbers are straight line to us. They're not going to be able to afford these coffee shops anymore. No more using credit cards to live from paycheck to paycheck. That's going to be a truly catastrophic SHTF. And I don't think enough people understand that. Um, because we're already so bad off economically, this is going to be a huge hit. This is a lot of people that are kind of sort of in that gray area. They're not homeless yet because they haven't had to pay these loans back. They're still able to live kind of sort of first world, and it's getting ready to get very third world for these individuals. And I got a comment several days back. Why aren't you more positive on this channel? Something to that effect. I am positive. I am positive when these loans come back and it's time to repay, there are going to be some alligator tears out there. And that's going to lead to a lot of frustration. A lot of pissed off people are going to be walking around asking what happened. We see it coming. We're able to put the gloves up, so to speak. A lot of people getting ready to get blindsided. They catching a right hook right to the face, son, and they don't even see it coming apparently, or they don't understand how bad it's gonna be. Let me put it to you like that. Here's one. Here's an SHTF that doesn't affect me per se, but maybe some people out there. The Biden administration, oh, what a class act of an administration they are. They're gonna go down in history. I'm not even going off on a tangent on that this morning. We'll do that another day. They're considering limiting Americans to 2 beers a week, following a model that they've seen in Canada, that anything over 2 beers a week per consumer is unhealthy. I think we ranted on this a little bit on the last exclusive stream. But two beers a week, going back to the live stream in Philadelphia, you have cops 100 feet away, sometimes not even, sometimes 20 feet away, watching people shoot up, eating their hoagie sandwiches. How are you going to enforce this? It would be the first question that I had. How do you, in what realm do you live in, son? Meaning Joe Biden and his administration. What realm are you in? What frame of mind are you in where you think you're going to be able to control people in this way? Are you going to limit them at the register? You can only buy 1 6-pack a week. Are you going to, is it going to be that way with a digital thing? Is this only going to apply to bars? Are we going to have random, roadblocks to check and I need to search the car. I need to make sure you don't have any alcohol in the trunk, son. This sort of thing is ridiculous. But it's to be expected with this administration. I mean, look, man, they don't stop. They're coming after beer now. They've already went after wood stoves, um, gas lawnmowers, and weed eaters. Some people call them trimmers. We call them weed eaters here. I realize it's a brand, but we call all the brands weed eaters here because we just do. Light bulbs. They outlawed the older style light bulbs because, hey, we've got to save the planet, even though the other ones cost more, right? Ceiling fans. Now they're moving towards ceiling fans, natural gas stoves, anything that they can put their hands on to inconvenience people. But I'm telling you, beer, alcohol is going to be the last straw for some people. Not kidding. I can't put myself in that group, but some people just aren't going to put up with that. Some people may keep their head down and their mouth shut and switch out their ceiling fans and not say anything about the light bulbs and maybe even turn their wood stoves over. But if they like their alcohol, they like their alcohol. They're gonna find a way. There are plenty of people out there, I think, that have the ability to sell them what they're looking for. I mean, The administration itself obviously has no plan. They wake up one morning and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this today, and we're gonna do this in the name of climate change." And then they just sign a piece of paper and boom, like the fairy godmother, this thing becomes a mandate or something, or a regulation or something like that. No plan. It's not backed by anything real. But again, this is the Biden administration. These are the same folks telling you not to prepare. You don't need to prepare, son. The government will take care of you. No, you won't. No, you won't. The fact that that's the only reason you need to prepare. All right. If you know somebody who's on the fence and they're like, this whole prepping thing, man, it just seems like, the excuse after the excuse. Stop them. Say, look, the government does not want you to prepare as it prepares. That in itself, that's the only reason I need to prepare. They're doing it and they're telling you not to do it. Why would they do that? Why would they be putting contingencies into place and telling you not to worry about it? It's crazy. Florida, unfortunately, right now is filled with people that listened to the government. Not beaverines, not preppers. We're talking zombies. We're talking people that just refuse to wake up. And now they're desperate. DeSantis had to put a thing out saying, no looting. Absolutely no looting. I'm pretty sure Beaverines already had their own signs up, just saying. And they're hurting. These people are hurting because a lot of them were lazy or cheap or both, but they also believed in the government. They believed the government was going to swoop in right away and take care of them. It's not how it works. And the preppers are doing just fine. Maybe they don't have power right now. Maybe they don't have a great drinking water situation, but I promise you, the preppers and the beaverines out there in Florida and coastal South Carolina and maybe coastal North Carolina, they're doing just fine. And that seems to be the recurring theme. Whatever the disaster, wherever the disaster, that's the reoccurring theme. For me, at least. The government says don't prepare. Don't overstock, we got you. And then the government is never there. The government, it's like that trust fall, son. They 20 yards back. They're not going to be able to catch you. You know what I'm saying? And preppers typically have it much easier during times of disaster. And that's what it's all about. Trust your gut. Do not trust your government. Y'all take care. God bless.